Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 10 of the F1 division of the first RSF1 season. My name is Primus Gaming, and joined with me today is RSF1 Brundle.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Primus.
Good evening. This is the first time ever that you and I have worked together, so I look forward to working with you today, mate.
Yes, as I am as well, and no pressure. You're doing the top tier for the first time as well, Primus. So
Yeah,
no pressure at all.
I haven't worked with the likes of Ozza and all that since our socials back in Australia, so it's going to be weird working with some new people. We've got Hyperphase. I do know Vettel fan and Master Krog as well. Quite a few familiar names as well, but there's a few new ones as well for me. But so I've not done F1 before, so this will be good for our viewers as well for an update on the championship standings.
So just checking my sound actually because it's a little bit. I've got no sound, but it shouldn't bother.
It should be fine because it will fix itself into Q2. Because I had this in the stream for F2 on Sunday, so hopefully it should rectify itself.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's not an issue for me because I'm just spectating. People can't watch what I'm seeing on the camera. Yes, F1. So obviously I've been commentating and streamed obviously last week in Austria. Now Austria last week was absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen it, that Primus, I urge you to, because it was battles all the way through. Tomo, who was streaming on that race, he was out of breath after the first couple of laps. I was out of breath just watching. And the important thing was it was clean. It was clean, precise battles, clean maneuvers. I don't think there was a single bit of controversial. You know how it is, Primus. There's always a league race. It's 19, 20 people. There's always one incident that is a bit of a talking point. I don't think there was.
I understand what you mean. Yeah, there's always one incident that would be oh my god, and the two leaders have touched or anything like that. I know exactly what you mean. But it was actually a surprisingly very good week for RSF1 Austria. Good battles and all that. But we are going to be on board with WW Hyperphase going into the hot lap. So would you like to commentate over him, and then after he finishes his lap, the championship standings?
Yeah, sorry about that. Got my don't know if you heard that. Got my phone. Might hear me. Yes, Hyperphase in Red Bull. The new drivers coming in to this week, I believe. They're just coming down into turn number 5 here, coming onto the old back straight. Should start this from the beginning because I now lost my corner name, and I think it's invalidated actually.
Yeah, he invalidated it into Luffield there.
I see, now you know the corner names. I feel
all of them. Don't worry, it's because I learned all the corner names when I was commentating with Bodder. Vettel fan has left the session. I did remember Vettel saying that if his connection wasn't going to hold out, he didn't want to endanger the races of his fellow F1 drivers. So if he couldn't get his connection sorted, he will not get in the way. So it's good on Vettel there for doing that. But we couldn't do an onboard with Hyperphase anyways because he invalidated the lap time. So while we wait for another driver to pick a right moment on to do an onboard with, what's the championship standings like?
Well, yeah, after the chaotic but very entertaining race in Austria, Austria was kind of labelled, obviously going into the race, because going into the race, Unity Hush in the Haas had quite a bit of a lead. And it was a big opportunity. It was a massive opportunity for the likes of Ozza, Gary, and Unity's teammate John to try and make some inroads into Unity because he was starting to look ahead. And in fact, Unity won. So he now has a 59-point lead over Ozza in the McLaren. And 59 points, well, basically he can have 2 non-finishes and still lead. Is the lead that he has.
That's an incredible lead from Unity Hush in the championship. That's mental.
Yeah, he's pretty much been the class of the field. He's been the target of the entire league up till this point. But it's all about momentum. It can very easily go wrong. I mean, if he has a non-result here, that could then follow up with a non-result in Germany, and then all of a sudden, it's back in. So he's got to keep the momentum up. Don't think he's going to ease off anytime soon. But yeah, 59 points. He's on 130. Then you got Ozza on 71 points. Then Gary in the Renault on 65. Gary in the Renault's had a good couple of results last time out. One in Canada, plus had a decent result last time out, so he's moved up the table. John MH in the Haas is on 60 points, with Eitz in the Renault on 54 and Shrimper on 50. Then you've got Dyslexic on 39, Bama Viking 38, Lethal Nukes 35. Vidalfan on 31 rounds out the top 10. He's in the Toro Rosso. Then you've got Clays on 29, Lukey 28, Smoky Bait 22, No Shoals on 19, Vettel SV on 18, Master Crogged 17, Iox 7, Quexor 4, and any that I haven't mentioned have yet to score. So basically, in a nutshell, Primus, you've got Unity, who's at the moment comfortable in front, and then you've got the chasing pack. And the chasing pack are all very, very close. They're yet to decide who, at the moment, is the challenger. So
it's an incredible battle by the sounds of it.
Yeah, Unity very much up there. Constructors, because of Unity's lead, it comes to no surprise that Haas are leading the championship, but they only have a 35-point lead over Renault. Renault are right with them. They're chasing them. But they've only got one driver tonight, so they may lose out a bit because it's only Gary in the Renault tonight.
He's done pretty good though. Second place today in the in Q1, so he's doing pretty good. And the Red Bull of FaZe taking provisional pole for Q1.
Yeah, so far so good. Interesting thing about FaZe Primus, I was actually in a social race with this driver. Very quick, but and then this is only first impressions. He's very, what's the word? Defensive?
So he's he's more like the Max Verstappen, very, very attack forward in terms of strategy.
Yeah, which is kind of ironic how he's in the Red Bull, but no, it's, I know obviously first impressions are everything, and he may sort of grow on me since then, but yeah, the first social race I tried to move on him, and he was like, no, you're not having space there, so...
Oh, so, yeah. Quick onboard of Unity Hush. If I can find him, there he is. He's going down the hangar straight. He's actually getting a bit of slipstream off of Gary there in the Renault, so that's going to do Unity really good. Into Stowe. Not bad. Now through Vale, he's got Vettel SF17 there, and it's going to actually slow him down. Yeah, because of Vettel there, it's actually just made Unity Hush had to abort his lap, so unlucky from Unity. So he has to either go round and farm his ERS, or he's going to have to maybe pit and then get a fresh tank for the fuel. So it's put Ozza into second place. So it's a bit bad luck there, because Vettel was actually getting ready to go onto his lap. I mean, we're looking at Vettel right now going down the Wellington Straight. And he just completely slowed down Unity Hush now through into Brooklyn, sorry. A bit of a bad run there through Brooklands into Luffield. Yeah, now into Woodcots.
Yeah, sorry, I think that was just wrong timing from Unity on the back of Vettel. I don't think there was any malice in what Vettel was doing.
No, because Vettel was Vettel SF17 71 was actually, I'm going to call him Iceman because I'll explain his nickname in a minute. So he was gearing himself up for the lap, and he was only on club. He was on the club corner, so we'll move on from that for the moment. But I don't think there was any maliciousness there. So we call Vettel SF71 Iceman because in the podcast with Hell King Tomo and Top Notch, which you'll be featured every Friday, guys. Top Notch was absent for the first episode, so it was just me and Top Notch with a few guest stars. And this man here was actually one of them. Oh, what was that?
Sorry, Clays in the last corner has just hit that curb. which can be done. Put him right into a 360 spin on the start-finish straight.
That's not good for his tyres.
Yeah, I saw this with Clays last week in Austria. He's, I don't know whether he's trying no assist for the first time. It just took a while in that qualifying session to sort of get to grips, and it seems to be the same thing here. Yeah, they said that sausage gun almost flew him up in the air.
Yeah, it's got to be very careful on Silverstone. I know a lot of people are going to be complaining a little bit about the slippiness of this track because don't get me wrong, Silverstone is an amazing track, but you need to be careful on every single corner. I think actually Cox will be one of the biggest threats. So you know the fast right-hander before Maggots and Beckett's? That is basically going to be where to watch out. Look at that, dyslexics over 127 dead. Not bad from the Williams driver. That's a really good lap. But we do know that Unity Hush is not satisfied with a 132.9 because he's now going through Chapel into the hangar straight. So yeah, Unity is on the attack after having to abort there in his lap after Vettel gearing himself up. So yeah, it's looking interesting for F1, and I'm actually excited to see how the whole weekend goes because, well, the race weekend, today, anyways. I'm excited to see how it goes because I've never commentated on it. Oh, and I saw that going into club. He just got too much of the curb. Oh, it might not be looking good for Unity Hush today.
He's got plenty of time. He's got time to get back into the pits and sort of go again. I don't think he has any more fuel, but looking very close on the times. I don't know if you've seen this as well, Primus. From Master Clock in 13th on a 27.7, exactly matching the Bamba Viking to the Falcon. There's a 4-tenth gap from him.
We're looking at.
Yeah. There's a 4-tenth gap from him to Shrimper, who's in third. So the cut-off point for, we're going to be losing 4 drivers at the end of this. Might be quite close. So a few drivers are a bit under pressure here.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly intense for the drivers. Speaking of a driver, I've got an onboard for you that's almost about to begin. It's Smokey McBates in car number 32 in the Mercedes. So he's now going down the hangar straight, so he'll be a moment. So he's actually letting that Williams pass him by the looks. I think that's the Devil. Yep, the Devil's now passing him. So I'll hand over to Brundle to begin his Smokey McBates flying lap.
Right, so here we go. Coming into the final chicane now to build up the lap. You want to be right in the hot lap ERS mode, which he is, minding the curb, which has thrown a couple of people now, and then on your run down into turn 1, gonna have big confidence in the car, just fling the car in, make sure you're not cutting on the inside, flat out for turn 2, and then turn 3, gonna slow the car down into third gear. I have to put it down into second, but that's what he wants to do. Turn 4 is kind of similar. Turn 5 is completely flat out with the DRS down to in corner names. I only know a fair few on this track, so bear with me. Down into the end of the first sector, and then into kind of the old section of the track, which I prefer really. I preferred like the old layout to this track rather than the new modern one. But he's onto the old front straight. You can still see the grip markings as we go into Cop's corner. That's my first one. Into there. I'll be very, very careful trapping missing into God's corner, but here is the best part of the track, Maggots and Beckett's section, the left, the right, and then the left to the right again. You've got to keep the momentum going through, and then out through the exit, keeping up as much speed as you can, and then onto the hangar straight, and what's that corner? I should know that corner. So, and then into the chicane for the end of the lap. Going to slow all the way down into the chicane, and then minding the curbs, and then across the line, and he sets a 27.4, which I think I say should put him through, but again the times are very, very close, but sim a little bit further up in the positioning anyway.
That was a really good onboard there, Brundle. I know you struggled with remembering a couple of corners, but Yeah, that's a pretty good onboard that you did, and I think you'll be pleased to know we've also got 17 viewers for the stream today.
And I've got the stream up, so any comments, put in the chat from me and Primus, and we will see ask anyway if there's any questions.
Yeah, feel free.
But yeah, about this track Primus. About this track Primus. Obviously long, fast track, but the really trickiest corners really are Cops. Obviously, with the track limits, as Master Krog has just had a massive spin at Cops actually, and done it very well to keep relatively off the track there. He was caught a slide, looked like he caught it and then snapped on him again. So he's in very big trouble actually, down in 15th at the moment.
He needs to keep up the pace, and I think if he charges his ERS, he'll be able to go for another run. So it's nearly the end of Q1 with 2 minutes remaining. So one of the people we got to keep an eye out, because Hyperphase retired because he thought it was fine there, you know, he feels safe. Dyslexic takes provisional pole over 127 dead, and I'm going to keep an eye on Shrimper. Actually, where's Ozza? Ozza's on the old start-finish straight, so I'll keep an eye on Shrimper. So let's do an onboard of Shrimper here. So going into the final chicane, into the club corner, he now begins his lap, but he doesn't get the inside on the curb there like Uni Hush did before. So now going into turn 1, he gets a good run there through turns 1 and 2. Now into Village. Can he get a good run through? The back end's not really agreeing there going into Village. Now into Loop, how is he going to do? He doesn't tuck the inside now onto the apex, so he's just going to keep it running through into the Wellington straight. So, I mean, it's a good run so far from Shrimper. So now into Brooklands he goes. That's actually quite nice and tidy, hugging the inside through to Luffield. A little bit of a wide entry into Luffield, so it's a really good move there to keep it going through Woodcote. And then he's got the tail. He's got the toe from that McLaren going into Cops. That's quite nice. I think he went flat out into eighth from that corner. He didn't even go down to 7th. Now through Maggots into Beckett's. So he's really trying to hold it on. Smokey McBates retires, and then through Chapel, and Smokey McBates almost loses it going into Chapel, and he locked up, and it doesn't do him any good. Shrimper really struggled there. We've only got 25 seconds remaining of the session. It doesn't look like it's going well for Shrimper there, because he's had to abort the lap.
Well, Shrimper should be okay. He's up in third place at the moment. But you've got Vettelfan and Darren, who have yet to even finish a lap here. But you've got Clays in that drop-off zone. Bamba Viking has retired while in 14th. He's in very big trouble, I reckon, with that. But it's all down to Vettel or Darren to see what they can do on their last laps. The time has gone, so this is going to be their one and only lap.
So the elimination zone has been declared. We're on board with Vettelfan going through Vale into the final chicane of the track. Can Vettelfan get himself out of this predicament in Q1? Round club corner. Can Vettel do it? Yes, he can. Into third place. Vettel makes it into Q2. And now it looks like Darren just narrowly missed out on getting into Q2. Now we're on board with Master Krog going into Cops. It's now raining heavily. If you can hear the rain, I'm very sorry.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Now going into Maggots through into Beckett's. Mr. Pigeon Munch takes provisional pole, which is really good. Unity Hush, third place through Chapel into the Wellington Straight. No, Wellington Straight, Hanger Straight. Going through into Stowe. It looks like Krog is struggling for grip. He's also got a fuel light on and he's got no ERS. Very bad exit into... Oh, he's had to abort the lap. Krog is out of Q1. So is Bamba Viking. Can Ioaks get himself through?
No.
No. Oaks is out.
Not this. Not this. Oh, no.
What's happening?
Unity's AI has been eliminated.
Unity Hush is out of Q1.
Yeah. No, he'll be through, but he'll be eliminated from Q. It's that stupid glitch that's still going round at the moment. That's because the AI cars all go at different speeds, and unfortunately, he's been taken out. So yeah, he'll be through to Q2, but he won't be taking part unless... No, I don't think there's even a fix now, but so frustrating.
I can only imagine how annoyed Unity Hush is, because even though he's a championship leader, some points is valuable to keep himself in the lead. And surprisingly, the streaming account is nearly level 7 on the game. So, going over the elimination zone, and then I'll let Brundle go over the top 5. So, Unity Hush is out! Unity Hush is out in Q1, so it's Bamba Viking, Master Krog, Darren, and Iox.
Yeah, and then the top 5, Mr. Pigeon, right at the end there, setting the time with Dyslexic, Hyperphase, Battlefan, and Shrimper, the top 5, all exceedingly close. Bamba Viking missed out on Q2 by a 10th and a bit, as did Master Krog. Unity, you got to feel for him, and I've been there, Primus, where your card just get taken out. There's nothing you can do. The only thing I tend to do, although it's not always 100% foolproof, is I never leave myself pressure to do one lap right at the end. But that's just me personally. Sometimes you can't do that, especially amidst conditions.
It's a good idea, because, you know, if you're the sort of person who'd try and ride out the session to the very end, you know, you'd wait until the very, very last few minutes to then set a lap and then invalidate it. You'd have literally just costed yourself a valuable chance of moving up into the next session or getting a better position in Q3. So I do understand what you mean there, and I've seen a few drivers take that gamble in my time as a commentator, and it does not work. Some make it work, some don't. It's all about handling that extra pressure of only having such little time to do a lap. Because do keep in mind, if you don't go out as much and you are on your flying lap and you invalidate it, your chances of really getting through to the next session is extremely, extremely slim. And before we continue, is your sound fixed?
Yeah, it is now. It's fine.
Perfect. So you're no longer watching RSF1, like me and Bodder the other day.
Yeah, but what was even weirder is I could very slightly hear the car noise coming from your microphone while you were on board. And then again,
a Ferrari.
When I heard, then again when I heard the rain came down, I was thinking, it's not raining in the game, is it? Because it was like, it's not raining on your screen, but not on mine, because that would not surprise me with this. No, it seems to be okay at the moment. That
would remind me, if anyone's able to provide a weather report to me and Brundle for the race weekend, that would be very, very helpful, please.
Yep. Meantime, obviously, we're now in the juicy business of Q2. Juicy business because strategy, and now I'm going to talk about it. Softs or mediums? I know you've got your race on tomorrow, actually. Primus, what would you start with? Or, without giving too much away, what would be your strategy going forward?
Giving my my view as a driver, so if I'm looking at this as a driver, the hards are completely useless. If you get a very, very bad start, and you know you're at the back of the grid and you manage to get a good run through, I'd say a hard start. But if you're not on the hard compound tyre at the beginning of the race, I would say don't even bother going on them, because there's only 26 or 28 laps for Silverstone, so there ain't really that much because of the size of the track. So medium and softs, I'd have to say, are the best tyres, because softs can go on for a while, because do keep in mind, the man with the cash in F2, he rode out quite a long time on the soft compound tyres at the start of the race, and then tried to go for a medium tyre finish. It almost worked. He would have made his strategy work if there wasn't the virtual safety car from Paita after losing control of his Mercedes. So it is very hard to say with how strategies will go, because it all depends. Will there be a VSC? Will there be any rain? Will there be any weather transitions? Will there be a safety car, not the VSC? You know, there's so much to take into consideration.
Speaking of rain, I don't know if you've seen in the chat, we got an update. Thank you very much, guys. Dry race until rain at the end.
Oh, so we're looking at a dry start and a wet finish. So this could be a very interesting F1 race. And it feels so weird being able to say F1 now because obviously I'm used to F2 and F3. So being able to commentate over F1, you know, it's weird. And John, he sets the benchmark of a 1:27.1. That's a decent lap going into Q2 with, but he's going on to the soft compound tyre. I think he knows the rain's coming, so I think John's going to go for a very aggressive start on the soft compound.
The rain is coming. The rain is coming from where you are. Jeez.
Yeah, it's because my mother and my brother have got new jobs, and you know, my brother, he has to get up really early, so I have to move my stuff into the conservatory, and sadly, down here, well, we've got a plastic roof, and as you can hear from the microphone, the rain isn't hitting as hard as it did before, but it should hopefully calm down soon. Look at Devil on my screen there as I was talking there. Devil just soaring through Maggots and Beckett's. That was very clean driving through there, so it was very impressive there from that Williams.
Yeah, very hooked up. When you hook up Maggots and Beckett's around this track, it is such a always
pitting. He looked like he was on such an amazing roll. Yeah, that's actually a good shout, sorry, because there's a chance he might have cut that corner. Dyslexic, his teammate, is on his outlap, and I think Dyslexic is definitely one of the drivers to look out for, because do you know of Dyslexic's season start in RSF1? Not just in F1.
Oh, yes, because he's been on the meteoric rise, hasn't he? Started off in F3, then was in F2 for a couple of races, beat me to pole in Baku by about a couple of hundredths, if I remember rightly. Still glossing over that, because he's now in F1, and he's even, last couple of races, been pushing the likes of Unity and Gary, all championship contenders, so, yeah. Is that where you were going with that? Or
yeah,
were you thinking of something else?
His track record in RSF1, because Dyslexic is just one of those drivers that never cease to amaze. He jumped 2 divisions in his RSF1 career, which is an amazing feat in and of itself. He's getting ready to warm up his tyres. Do you want to do it on board with Dyslexic?
Where have we got? Right, here we are. Right, so medium tyres, yeah, definitely moving that car. Right, so medium tyres should be at, well, right where Gary is actually, around about mid 27, high 27 to low right here. There he goes into turn 1, and again, track limit, so you can run that curve on the left hand side. Just about made it work, I think. Yeah, he's still going full throttle, so it was clean, just about. And into turn 3 and turn 4. As I said, the new sort of added, say new and added, is like 2012, I think, 2012, 2013 that they added this on. Today, trying to get some cheeky section from Mazza. Down back into the old section of the track here. He's got to be careful of that curb, because you need to use that curb. Obviously, you can go over it. That will invalidate your lap. There are quite a few corners that can do that, and trust me, I know, because I'm the king of corner cutting, of course, apparently. Into Cops Corner. Is he taking it flat? No, a little bit of an ease off on the throttle, but very nicely through. Let's see how he does Maggots and Beckett's now. Kept it in 7th gear, down to 6th, and then down to 5th for the exit. Oh, put it into 4th, which can sometimes do, and probably on the medium tyres will have to do that. And then down the hanger straight, Stowe. And then just sort of, again, keep the momentum. It's all about momentum about this track until you get to the final 2 corners, which again, these could be the most tricky, because you go from fast corners and then you've got an intricate around here, minding the curves, because they are quite big ones, and then into that, it's a 27.6. That's very good.
That's impressive.
On the medium tyres from Dyslexic.
Yeah, he's not too far off of the pole sitter, John, on the soft compound tyre. So Dyslexic, again, astounding the crowd with amazing driving. And it's hard to say with how this race is going to look, especially with the fact that Unity Hush, the championship leader, is out in Q1. So I know Unity is going to go for a more longer run in terms of the strategy. I think, personally, Unity might start on the hard compound tyre, especially with the fact there's rain coming. he'll go for the hard compound tyre all the way through to the transition.
Gamble though, isn't it? Gamble though, because he's starting 14th, 15th, I think.
15th place 15th, yeah. With hard compound tyres, if he does do it. He might go for softs, he might go for an aggressive start, but if he goes for the hard tyres, he's not going to have the grip that the others will have.
I personally, it's only because the hards it'll be soft and line, so it'll be, I'm just personally thinking of the bottleneck on the first lap, first couple of corners. If he gets caught up in anything, then that hard tyre is gone. You then can't use it again. So that's the only risk with that. It's a good call, and I do agree with you, but he's got to keep it clean. He cannot chuck it into moves that are half-hearted.
Oh!
And that's when it's going to be Ozza 27 flat, very nice.
He even ran wide going out of Stowe there. Sorry to interrupt. Literally, he just went through Stowe. He got such a wide exit. Literally, he went off the track, and he still managed to beat the Haas of John MH 2002. So I think with the fact that Unity Hush is out in Q1 is going to give Ozza a little bit more confidence. I know Dyslexic is there. We cannot rule out Dyslexics and Vettel fan, but I think Ozza will feel a little bit more at ease that the championship leader is sort of out the way. This could be a very good day for the McLaren team if he could keep up this pace.
This is one of the evenings already for Unity. If he's going to win the championship, it's going to be done from tonight. I know that sounds a little bit silly because it'll be done by race wins. Obviously, he can win the next 5, and then he's probably got it. Well, no, but you know what I mean. But
yeah,
it's those days. It's those days when things don't go your way. It's those days when you get eliminated in Q1 or Q2, no fault of your own, like what he's got now. If he can get solid points, like a top 5, that's a job well done. That's a job well done, because it's that ability of not only winning races but being consistent, not giving up, and just getting the best of what you can do on the night, because you have no idea.
And well, everyone would be wishing Unity Hush a nice race, because obviously being in 15th place after that bug, it must be frustrating. Is there any questions in the stream for you or I?
You don't get odds or anything for going off. Yeah, but good point, Patronus, actually. Stowe. Now, he has pointed out something very, very interesting that is about this track. Stowe. You said Ozza went very wide at that corner.
Yeah, he ran off Stowe there.
Well, to put it bluntly, you can and get away with it. And it's like it's like the turn 1 of Austria, which I did last week. It's not an exploit because everybody pretty much uses it. Every fast driver knows that running wide at Stowe doesn't invalidate your lap. They don't even gain you that much, but you can afford to sort of run wide over the curb and onto the green AstroTurf and still be fine, basically.
Although it'd be very risky when you're battling, because if you go off the turf, go onto the turf and then try to rejoin the track, you could be at risk of hitting a driver that's still fighting for positions on the track. While looking at the Devil there, putting himself into P7, which is pretty good there on the medium compound tyre.
Be a little bit dangerous. Again, like Q1, you got Slexic on the 27.6, 4 tenths to Vettel SV, who was in 10th. So it means pretty much, let me just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty much everybody apart from the Devil, who has just finished his lap, from 4th downwards that did complete lap on mediums, they're now all on softs. So they realise we're not safe here. Let's go out against the times, and we're only going to go quicker from here.
Indeed. I don't know what's going to happen though, because do keep in mind we don't know when the rain is going to begin in the race. Oh, nasty bit of thunder there from my place, or is that a plane? No, it's a plane. So, anyways, because of the rain, it's really hard to say and what's going to happen in that. Whoa, and no Charles there. He slows down to let all the cars go by, and I think that Red Bull there just, Red Bull just had a little bit of tunnel vision and then just he saw the Alpha in his crosshairs and just got out of the way. So no Charles getting out of the way there for all the faster drivers, but I think Hyperphase wasn't concentrating when he saw that stopped Alpha there.
Give them under a little bit of pressure as well. 30 seconds to go. All of those starting a lap now are going to have one time, so we might get a few surprises here of people that have shown the pace in Q1 but may not get through this session.
Let's keep an eye on RSR Clays, the only driver in F1 in Q2 to not set a time, who's now going through Cox Corner, flat out through there. He did lift off a tiny bit. So can RSR Clays get a good run through Maggots into Beckett's? No Charles has retired from the session. He is out of Q2. And look at that, it looks like RSR Clays has gone off. RSR Clays is out of Q2. And now Vettel SF1H. He is now the one of the only cars that's in the danger area other than the Red Bull of Hyperphase. So now Vettel going into Stowe. Gary, with the fastest lap of the session, puts himself into provisional pole for Q2. So can Vettel get himself out of this little predicament, going through the final chicane into the club corner? Can Vettel do it? Yes, he can. P4, well done. And now the only car to have a look out for is Hyperphase. And it looks like it says Shrimper and Vettel fan are on their outlaps, which they cannot do anything because they are... Well, you can't do your outlap and then onto a flying lap when the time is up. So let's keep an eye on this Red Bull. He's pushing it down the hangar straight.
Half a second up.
Yeah, he's actually done a good personal best in the second sector into Stowe. Can the Red Bull keep the momentum? Yes, he looks like he's doing pretty well. Into the final chicane. There you go, into club. Can Hyperphase do it? Yes, he can! Second place!
Easily.
That was incredible.
Yep. Yeah, he was one of the pace setters at the end of he was in the top 5 of Q1, so would have been a big surprise if he hadn't done it. Put himself under a lot of pressure, but he is safely through, knocking out the Devil in the end, but he just. Devil missing out by 0.03 of a second. Vettel fan can breathe a sigh of relief.
Oh, I can't see the table for Q2. You'll have to go through who's been eliminated in the top 3.
Alright. So, eliminated is the Devil, Smoking Bates, No Shoals, and RSR Clays. Pigeon, Quexor, Dyslexic, and Vettel fan all on the mediums. Top 3 was Gary, Hyperphase, and Ozza, all separated by a 10th.
Thank you very much there, Brundle. It's actually really good to have you here because I wouldn't be able to provide the information there because as soon as the streaming account leveled up, pressed A and no table for me to look at. So we are now 12 minutes for Q3. So a rough little guess here, Brundle. Who would you say would be a real contention for provisional pole going into the race?
It's a difficult one to call. Very difficult one to call. Because the guys on the medium tyres weren't even far off if you take the difference between mediums and softs. If I have to put my money on it, I'd probably go John. But again, it's one of 6 or 7, maybe even 8 that could go for it. It's all going to be down to who's going to nail the lap in this session.
And it looks like one of the first cars out onto the track is Vettel fan in the Toro Rosso, followed by, I think, is it Quexor?
Yep.
So Quexor and the Red Bull. If it's really that close as you put it, it's going to be a very, very interesting start because it's not really been one set person up at the top because, you know, when you've got so many skilled drivers that are just constantly outdoing each other, it's really hard to put, put your finger on it. But I'm going to say definitely a real contender for provisional pole would be Hyperphase, with putting out a really good lap in Q2, so it could potentially put Hyperphase up. I know Dyslexic is definitely someone to watch out for, as well as Ozza.
I think fastest lap going into this session was a 26.9 set by Gary in Q2, but I say fastest, it was fastest by like a couple of hundred, so it's... Yeah, this is going to be a very, very close one, but you know as well as I do, Q3, if you're in Q3, the top 10, and especially on your final lap, the pressure is just... Nothing can compare it really, apart from maybe making a nervous speech or something like that. It's just, especially when you run your purple as well. So it's all who can handle the pressure. This is a very, very close field. It's going to be very fine margins.
Going through the loop there, we're on board with Vettel fan, who's on his he's on his hot lap now. So through the Wellington Straight, looking good. Now into Brooklands, a little bit wide entry there into Brooklands. Now into Luffield, hugging the curb on the right hand side there. A little bit of a wide exit actually going out of Luffield there through Woodcote. Now down the old start straight, need to chuck it into Copse. He had to lift off quite a bit there actually going into Copse, so I think that's costed Vettel some sweet time going into Maggots and Beckett's. Oh, look at that, he struggled there through Beckett's, and now through the Chapel into the Hangar Straight. So Vettel is trying to do his best to set a good benchmark for the group going into Stowe. Oh, right, going onto the turf there, but he can run wide there because we've seen Ozza do it, and it still be fine. Into the final chicane after Vale. Oh, whoa, look at that! He's on the track! That's going to obstruct some people going onto their lap. That was very, very good save there from Vettel, and it puts Quexa into provisional pole with a 1:27.1.
I tell you what, he did very well. John with a 27 flat.
That was a good save. I have to give it to Patel. That was struggling. He was giving it his all there, and then just that final chicane. It's just really easy to lose the back end of the car if you just push it too hard going out of that chicane. So Patel's going to have to go back into the pits, refill, or maybe even put on some new tyres, and then give it another go.
And Dyslexic's lap on this run has been curtailed because he got a massive slide for the end of Max Beckett, so not getting pole on this one. I tell you the best thing about Vettel's, Vettel fan's slide is the first thing he thought was floor the throttle, get out of the way of Crexel, because he knew he was behind. Just about got out of the way as Gary has gone second in the run over 27.1. It's going to be... You're going to have to hit the 26s, I think, to have a chance for pole.
Shrimper improves his position up to 6th place. He did get a little bit too much of the curb, the sausage curb on the inside going into the final chicane. And it sounds like the rain is now starting to lap out of my place, but, I'm not going to hold my breath. So Dyslexic had to pit after that bad run. Looks like Vettel's going to have to pit. Ozza has left the session. He needs to get back in, otherwise he could potentially miss out on the start. So Vettel fans now going into the pits to refill because his fuel light's on. Let's keep an eye. Yeah, everyone's all going into the pits now, so it's hard to really say who's going to go back out. What about Gary? Now Gary's running out of fuel. Mr. Pigeon Munch is in the pits. There you go, Ozza's back. That's like what we'd like to see. And it looks like Vettel SF7 had aborted his lap. He is now either harvesting or he's going to go into the pits. Yes, slowed down for the last 5 minutes of Q3.
Yeah, that's it. It's just going to go back into the pits. And yeah, they're just going to go back into the pits and get a fresh set of tyres up. Just looking at the sector time premise, in particular looking at the top 4, everyone first sector is around about 27.2, but the big sort of difference is sector 2. John MH did a 35.7 compared to Gary's 36 flat. Quexor was a 35.8 and Ozza a 36 flat. So as long as Gary can make a couple of attempts in that middle sector, might have been just a slight mistake going on in his lap potentially, but then he can then everyone, because that seems to be the place where he's losing time. I think Hype Phase has got a little bit more time, as does Shrimper, and I think Dyslexic might be up there as well, so still all to play for.
Indeed, and now everyone is in the pits, so we've got a brief pause. I have a feeling though a driver will eventually be leaving the pits soon because, yep, I can see the Racing Point team getting ready to take in Vettel's car. So it's just a matter of waiting for one team to send out a car. I can hear some revving.
That sounds like a Renault to me.
Out? That might be.
That's a Renault engine of sorts.
It could be the McLaren of Ozza. Yep, it looks like we've got... Yep, it was a McLaren. It was a Renault engine going out.
How did you know that was a McLaren?
Because, well, it was just a rough guess. It was.
It's amazing now how we can tell.
Gary or Ozza. It was one of the two.
Is it a bad thing that we knew from the engine sound it was a Renault?
No, because we're true car guys. You know.
Some would say we're nerds.
Hey, we're nerds. We're the best kind.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Because if we're going to be nerds, we're at least going to be nerds on cars that literally require superhuman concentration and physical peak of the human body, you know, like hitting that peak to drive these things. So, you know what? We're the best kind.
Of course. Interesting tactic from Ozza, I think, because he's going out earlier compared to... Interesting, right? He's going out early compared to everyone else. Fine for pole here. Dyslexic also, because basically you can leave it to about 220, but you will have to rush around on your outlap. Around about 240, be leaving the pits around about now. And Ozza's already almost coming back to the pit, so it's an interesting tactic here. Go out with clean air. Relatively fast track at the moment, so see how he does.
I'll let you do it on board of Ozza.
Alright, so let's see what he can do. We'll find 2 attempts to beat John MH as he goes flying down into turn 1. Is he going to take the wide line to open up the corner? Does it a little bit, but completely flat through turn 1. Very, very nice down into turn 3. It's the braking very good. So far, so good. And into second, which is what I tend to do. He's in hot lap at the moment, which is another thing around here. You've got to save the ERS, even in the qualifying a little bit. He's in hot lap. Now, we're on at 27.2, I believe. First sector, he matches it and improves his personal best by 8 hundredths there. So far, so good. This is the section where John MH was good on his lap, so he's got to absolutely nail it. Look, a wide line, and again goes over that white line. Didn't know you could do that, but hey, Cops had to lift a little bit, just about keeps it on the track. Into Magnus and Beckett's flat through the first part, 6th, but then down to 5th, maybe slightly over the curves, but I think he's okay. Now he's got a lot of traffic to contend with. He's 3 tenths.
Oh, that's a
up.
Ferrari of Shrimper. Sorry to interrupt there. The Shrimper had crashed the car on the hangar straight.
Oh. I don't know what he's done, but I think Oz is on a very, very good lap. He's just got the final chicane to go. He's just about going to have enough ERS to keep him up here. This could be for pole. This could beat John NH. I think it is.
Oh.
Yes, 26.9.
That's incredible. Sorry about that there, Rundle. It's just At one moment we see yellow flags in the third sector, and I thought, oh, that's just the Haas of John, you know. I was just like, you know, he's just letting him go by, and then suddenly we've just got a parallel Ferrari parked on the hangar straight. So unfortunately, that looks like Shrimper is going to be finishing where he's at. Dyslexic over 127.
26.7.
Oh my god.
Oh, the bar has been raised. It's like high jump.
It is, and looks like Vettel fan is just going to make it to do his flying lap. He just timed it well, so he just needs to keep the consistency and hope that he can get through nice and cleanly, because that could improve his position starting into Q3. So Q3 is now over, and as I thought, Shrimper is the only car that's not going to be able to either try and improve his time or try and set a lap at least. So Shrimper is out of, he's finishing where he's in 7th place in Q3. Quexer moves up to 2nd place in the Red Bull, overtaking Ozza by a 10th. And, oh my god, this is intense already, Brundle. And look at that pigeon lunge!
The smallest margin pigeon.
Pigeon lunge. Gary taking...
Oh, Gary as well.
Look at Ozza, he's falling down the grid. Ozza's
John
just...
MH.
Yeah, John... Wait, John's actually in charge, isn't he? Oh no, John's actually gone in. What about Hyperphase? Hyperphase is actually...
3 tenths up.
Yeah, he's actually going to look fast.
3 tenths up.
This will be the first time I actually see a Red Bull, other than, you know, like the battle between me and my teammate Alka Saints in F4, seeing Red Bull fight for the top of the race in Silverstone. But here we go, through club goes Hyperphase. Can he take provisional pole? No, he can't.
No.
So all eyes are on Vettel Brand, 9th place. So that is it for the session. What
In all Primus, put it on leader. Put it on leader. Look how close.
Oh my god!
A 10th.
The top 5! We're not even a 10th away from Dyslexics in provisional pole. Look at that!
What?
That is incredible. I tell you what, Brundle, that is the closest qualifying times I've ever seen in RSF1.
I think ever.
Ever, yeah.
I think ever. I've never seen. I've seen in Baku. Baku can get quite close, and Bahrain can get quite close as well. But my goodness me, 5 people covered by 700s.
Takes provisional pole, followed by Quexer, who is 9,000th of a second off of him, and then Mr. Pigeon Munch in 3rd, who was 100th off of Dyslexic's time. Gary's 600ths off, as well as Hyperphase. So the Gary and Hyperphase are only 2,000ths of a second off of each other. I have to give F1 credit where it is due, Brundle. Those were some nail-biting times. They were so close.
Very, very close. What could be summed up actually is I thought John MH, who I think somewhere I tried to keep on pretty much everyone as they went through, but I think John MH may have corner cut somewhere because I think he was on a good lap and then sort of slowed down like halfway through. He was pole, don't forget, before the final run, and he ended up 7th? Yeah, 7th. Insane.
Yeah,
insane stuff.
Hyperphase. We was all interested in what Hyperphase could do, but I think he might have accidentally gotten a bad run there on his final flying lap. So Hyperphase, unfortunately, missing out on putting himself up higher in the grid. I think he finished up P5. Yeah, Hyperphase was very close in the times as well. But Quexer, to see Quexer in 2nd place to begin the fight. So it's an interesting start, really, to see how this goes. I mean, Gary is just quick, you know. We know Gary's quick, but like Quexer and Mr. Pigeon Munch, this is the first time I've actually seen these guys in action in league racing. So, you know, I can't really put like the nail on the head on how it all goes because you never know. Next week we might see real performance from like other drivers suddenly coming out of nowhere. But it's a very good debut as a commentator for F1, I have to say.
Yeah. And for the race, it should be very exciting. In terms of the tyres, where they all ended up, you got the top 3 all start on mediums. Dyslexic, Quixel, Pigeon on mediums. The first soft runner is Gary. And then the next medium runner isn't until Vettelfan in 9th place. So Vettelfan has obviously got to start clean, keep with the front runners. As for the likes of Gary, of course, rain at the end of the race can throw all of this out the equation. And this is the weird thing, Primus. You know as well. It may say on the little radar that we got, rain in 45 minutes. That's only a guess. That only sometimes is true or right. Because sometimes it can come earlier than that. There are no clouds whatsoever, so I have to keep an eye on those. Because that's the telling point. But would be interested in this tyre strategy. What do you do if you know that rain is potentially coming? Do you go really
I would
aggressive?
go for the longest sort of running strategy. It's like the smartest thing to do. You want to stay out for as long as you can, because obviously if you take a pit stop, especially of how long the pits are in Silverstone, you will be looking at losing a load of time in the pit stop, and especially the fact that we've got rain, so a mandatory stop to slap on the intermediate tyres is probably going to happen. I'd say it's an 80% chance, because it all depends on when the rain falls. If it happens near the end, they could probably ride out dries to the end, but if the rain comes maybe in the second third of the race, it's going to be mandatory to slap on those inters. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere on dry weather tyres in the intermediate conditions. So I would say the best thing to do is just ride out on the hardest compound for as long as you physically can. And then, once we get onto the wet conditions, then you rode it out, because people, if they're starting on softs, they will have to pit. It is inevitable. They will have to pit.
I'm not seeing anybody outside the top 10 starting on the hard tyres. I may be thinking one of them will, but check the formation up, because sometimes they change even after I look at the grid. But we're already up now, so
about to get underway. So I'll let you do the formation.
If the rain comes late. Okay, if the rain comes late, those starting outside the top 10 on the harder compounds, the race may come to them, but it's an open thing at the moment, because we cannot tell. But let's let's put them on the tyres now. So go from top to bottom, because I normally do it from top to bottom. So go bottom to top. High Oaks. Starts from 19th. Medium tyres for him. Master Grog is next. Will be 18, although it says 19. I think someone left or dropped out at this point. I think
we've lost the car, yeah.
Yeah. Don't know who that was, but you got Master Grog there. You got Bamba Viking, who has... That's not Bamba Viking, that's Vettelfan, who's spun it. Vettelfan done that last week in Austria. He spun it on the formation. Now he's done it again. Bamba Viking 16th. Unity Haas, championship leader, on 15th on the grid. A lot of pressure on him. Needs to have a good result here. If he can get points, good on him. And I hope he has a good time, because definite, unfortunate. RSR Clays in 14th in the Mercedes. Then you got No Shoals. Aggressive strategy from him, 13th on the soft tyres. Same with Smoking Bates, also there. And then you got the Devil in the Williams in 11th. Vettel SV in 10th in the Racing Point, with Vettel found in 9th. And then you've got RSF1 Shrimper in the first of the Ferraris. The only Ferrari, actually. I think we lost a Ferrari. And then you've got John MH. John MH in the Haas in 7th, with Ozza in 6th. Mike Faze in 5th, with Gary in 4th. And then the top 3, Mr. Pigeon in the Alfa Romeo, Quexel in the Rebel. And on pole position is Dyslexic. I think he got pole last time out in Austria. Again, another close run thing. Almost close as that, if that's even hard to imagine. But yeah, guys in the softs, they've got to make moves early on these front 3. could be a very hectic first lap.
So we are now lining up on the grid. So, Brundle, you just keep an eye on the back in the midfield just in case. I'll keep an eye on the front runners. So the cars at the back are now lining up on the grid for round 10 of the F1 season. So in just mere seconds, we will be seeing the lights going off. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's lights out and away we go. Quexer gets an amazing start going into the beginning of the race. Gets on the inside of Dyslexic. The Red Bull has taken the lead. Looks like Dyslexic is trying to get back on the outside. In the inside going into Village on Quexer. Hyperphase has gotten into third place. Look at that. And I think there's been a little bit of touching wheels of the Williams and the Red Bull. But good racing nonetheless. It looks like the battle for first has already taken a massive turn with Hyperphase getting up 2 positions, and it looks like I think Unity Hush has made up a couple of positions as well as IOX making up 4 positions. A good race start, and it looks like going into Brooklands. Dyslexic is struggling. Round the outside into Lovefield goes Hyperphase, but Hyperphase is forced off the track into the Renault of Gary. This is intense battle down the inside. Goes Gary into Cobbs. And we've lost Hyperphase! Hyperphase has spun off and it's collected Shrimper!
Oh!
What happened there? That's nasty.
Was that contact with Shrimper? I think Shrimper's got damage and he's kept going.
Shrimper's definitely suffered a lot. Bamba Viking has lagged out. So look at that. They're all just clumped up in going into the hangar straight. It's all so close.
Bunched up in the last sector here.
Yeah, look at that. They're all going in. So Pigeon Munch and Pigeon Munch has sped in the pits. He's got a penalty. It's gone bad to worse for Pigeon Munch, and Dyslexic's actually fallen. Oh, Quexer! The race leader spun. And it puts Dyslexic back in the lead. Oh my God, the Red Bull. What's happened to the Red Bull? Shrimper getting caught by Hyperphase. Quexer trying to hold off Dyslexic. I think Quexer just pushed it too hard and he went off the track. Hyperphase is the only Red Bull that's still kind of high up in some positions. So it's up to him to try and make up the positions unless, Quexer can make his way back up. But there was no damage on Quexer's car, but those tyres are going to be a little bit shot. Gary, looking on the back of that Williams, going into Cobb's corner, round the outside. He goes. Ozzo is getting a little sniff on this action as well. Take a look at that. It's a 3-man fight going into Maggots and Beckett's. Dyslexic pushing through while Gary is all over the back of him. Ozzo is just hugging the back of the Renault, waiting for the correct opportunity on the hangar straight to make the move. We'll keep an eye on Ozzo because he's going to go down the left side. So he's going to go round the outside into Stowe. Can Ozzo do it? Let's have a little look-see. No, he has to back off and he has to... What's happened?
Let's make him a bait sort of spun. Let's make him a bait sort of spun at the end of Maggots.
Luckily, it looks like he's not collected anyone, so obviously Smokey will have to keep fighting on from there. We've got a yellow flag in the third sector.
Hyperphase has had another rough day. He's had a rough first lap.
Yeah.
And it's going relatively slow.
Yeah. Ooh.
What's going on here?
Did you just see the Toro Rosso Vettel fan suddenly just lag into sight?
Yeah, there's a bit of lag jumping about with a few others. Bamba Vikings off as well. It's a rough first couple laps. Oh, Krog has been spun.
Oh no, that's not going for a good... Oh, what's going on here? Krog was going slow on the track and now he's immediately fighting for 11th place against Quexer. By the way, Quexer made a good recovery after falling down to the very back of the grid. And we've got a battle there between Vettelfan and Hyperphase going into Lovefield. And it looks like Hyperphase manages to get the job done on the Toro Rosso. I don't know if that Toro Rosso is going to have the power to catch up. So, looks like Hyperphase is in 7th place. Unity Hush, look at the recovery drive off the start. 15th place. 6th place. Oh, and Hyperphase lost it into Maggots and Beckett's. He almost collected Vettel going into there. And it's allowed Iox to get a little bit of the action there.
Oh, look at this train.
There's a
Look at this train.
RSR Clays is
Vettel
fighting
fell off the
Iox.
inside Clays.
And the Hyperphase is fighting for dear life to hold them off. I'm trying to get a better camera view, but the game doesn't want to provide it. What's happened?
Clays tapped the back of Iox, put him into a half spin, and again side by side in the last corner. Don't do that.
Going into club.
Don't do that.
They're still together, and it looks like Iox just gets out in front. It must be a warning there, because that was a bit of a cut there going into the first corner. Tries to look in the inside of the racing point, but he just can't do it. He's going to have to wait a moment. So let's get the tyre compound on. There you go.
Drivers that pitted on the first lap, or the first couple of laps, Pigeon, John, the Devil and Shrimper, all in the first couple of laps. Unity. The Unity's actually battling with no shells, around the outside to take 5th place. They're going to go side by side for the old front straight. Don't go side by side through cops. Okay.
Looks like
no shells keeps the inside.
The battle up front is
Unity.
getting more intense because Gary is catching Dyslexic. Ozza is still staying there. It's a battle for first because look at that. It's first to fourth.
Oh!
Vettel fan's gone.
There's been a massive crash. Hype phase is round. At old turn 1, Hype phase and Vettel connected.
Not gone
so
good
Hype
for
is
both
all the way down to
them.
14th.
And like the Red Bull had such an amazing start. Mastercrog makes his way up into 8th place on Quegsa and Iox.
I tell you what I'm seeing at the moment, Primus. The ones that start at the back have made huge gains. The ones at the front have just dropped back through various incidents at the moment.
Yeah, Vettel SF71 went a little bit wide there in turn 1. Gary's struggling to keep up with Dyslexic. I think Ozza is now going to try and make a move down the Wellington straight. Yes, he will. Down the inside, Ozza goes on Gary into Brooklands. Gary shuts the door, though, on the McLaren. So through Luffield, Ozza cannot counteract just yet. So it was a good defence play there from Gary. You know, he saw that McLaren come in and he just said, no, I can't let you get past. But look at that. Ozza's going to try and maybe make a move down the inside, going into Cops. But no, Gary gets back on the racing line and just stops him from being able to do that.
Yeah, so from the start, you got Vettel up 6, Charles up 8, Unity up 9, Clay's up 7, Prog up 9, Iox up 9. All the ones at the back from 13th down have all gone down dramatically through various types of incidents going through this race. What I would say is the person that got roughed up the most was Hyperphase, it seemed. Got a rough introduction to F1, I think.
Not a good way to start the day, but do keep in mind, Hyperphase had really good potential for fighting for the lead, but he just lost it there in the first lap, and it was the same with Quegsa. Quegsa was actually the race leader at one point. He actually had better tyres than Dyslexics, but he just lost it there in the second lap, and it looks like Gary is going to get the move down the left-hand side of Dyslexics going into the Wellington straight. Yes, he can. Round the outside, Gary goes on Dyslexics into Brookland. Can he do it? It's side by side into Luffield. This is a Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas battle. The Renault just gets in front of Dyslexics, and Gary takes the lead through Woodcote of F1. What a move. And it looks like Ozza is now starting to get a little bit impatient, because at one moment he was stuck behind the Renault, and now he's stuck behind the Williams. I think Smokey McBates has gone again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had a spin. Coming around. Obviously, the guys are the leaders. Guys on softs have to make moves on Dyslexic, but the problem is their soft tyres are already going to be starting to run out in the next 4 or 5 laps. So Gary's got the move done, but he's still going to get the gap.
Interesting. Dyslexic is keeping up with Gary, but looks like Ozza is starting to pull back a tiny little bit on Dyslexic, because Dyslexic is giving him the dirty air, and keep in mind Ozza was stuck behind Gary for a good portion of time. Ozza's trying to hold off the racing point of Vettel. So the battle for first place is a 4-horse fight. It's incredible how close they all are. Unity Hush and No-Shows are really giving a good show there. Alfa Romeo and the Haas team. And it looks like Unity Hush is going to get a better run into Brookland on No-Shows. He sends it side by side going into Brookland, but it looks like No-Shows gets a better run through into Luffield. There's no room for the Haas to make the move. We've got a yellow flag in the third sector. I wonder what that could be. Probably just a slow car because that didn't last long. And now going into Cops. This is a really close fight between No-Shows and Hush. It looks like No-Shows got a little bit of a bad run though.
Well, Unity doesn't really need to make the overtake at this point, because if he's close enough to have a go, he will have a go. But because of the strategy he's on medium tyres. I'm just amazed how he's 5 seconds off the lead, starting 15th. It's made a meteoric start to this race. I know there were incidents in front of him, but it just showed the bravery and commitment of a potential champion. I know it's early stages, but he's definitely putting his name on it.
I know Unity is heads down because he knows he probably won't be able to challenge for the win while being stuck behind No-Shows. It all depends on what happens at the front, because do keep in mind Dyslexic is on the medium tyres while you've got 4 cars ahead on the soft compound tyre. Iox has actually got a 3-second time penalty there, down in 11th place while trying to fight Bamba Viking. So it's a good battle. It's still close between the top 4, No-Shows and Unity. And it looks like Quegser is actually starting to gain on the McLaren of Masterkrog.
Meanwhile, on the rover front, the clouds are gathering a little bit, but still far from any rain, I think. Seems to be a lot of clouds around about the Cops and Nuggets and Beckett section.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that.
I know it's weird doing a little weather check, but that's the good thing about this game. I know it has its problems. As Shrimper, well, he's at the back, and yeah, he's retired.
Has he crashed?
In the pits. No, that's a manual retirement in the pits.
Oh, Quetzal's gone. And Bamba Viking has a 5-second penalty for causing a collision. Is that... He's received a penalty for the collision.
All I can decipher from that is there was probably... could have been a spin between Bamba and Oaks, or separately, and then Quexel just had no room to go and hit the back of Bamba potentially.
Did you catch that at the end of that?
I only caught Bamba and Oaks just spinning off turn one. They were far apart when I saw them.
So it's only yellow flags, no safety car
Bamba's in.
Yet. Yeah, Bamba's gone. So Bamba's gone in. No-Shows has actually pitted, and it puts Masterkrog up into 6th place. But Masterkrog had a bit of a poor start to the session. And take a look at that. In the race, he's already made himself up to 6th place. He's catching up to RSR Clays, but they're both on the medium tyres, but Clays is just getting a poor run there through Luffield. This is intense, I can tell you that, Brundle. It's only lap 9, and you know the action has not stopped. At first, it looked like a possible Red Bull podium, you know, real power. Dyslexic struggling against the likes of Gary and Ozza. Speaking of, Ozza might try and send it down the outside through Stowe. No, he won't. Although Dyslexic catches a bit of the dirt and gets a bit of a bad run there. Gary and Ozza are now pitting. This could work out in the favour of Unity Hush, who's now going to make his way up to 2nd place. And do keep in mind, Dyslexic has been struggling to fight against soft compound runners. Imagine how he's going to be when he sees that Unity has gone from 15th to 2nd place.
So the guys that have already picked at the moment, No-Shows and Vettel SV. Vettel SV went on mediums. No-Shows, interestingly, went on hard tyres. That could, and I say could, benefit him later in the race if he can keep those hard tyres. But they are slow if he can keep with the leaders. But Vettel SV is come out ahead of Ozza, so he is in a net second place by the looks of it.
The battle between teammates at the back of the grid between Bamba Viking and Vettel Fan. So Vettel Fan is going to be in the DRS of Bamba Viking, going into Stowe side by side. Go the Toro Rossos. They're not giving any room for judgment there. Vettel goes round the outside on Bamba Viking and sticks it. I know there's team orders and stuff, but there was no team orders there. That was a pure battle from the Toro Rossos, and Vettel gets out in front of Bamba.
There's no team orders because of the 15th, but yeah, fighting tooth and nail.
I mean, it's a little bit of fun though. You know, it's a good fight between mates. Bamba, however, has got the slight advantage on his teammate with only 1 lap old hard, while Vettel Fan, he's going down the inside actually for a good run outside of loop. It's into the Wellington straight. The Toro Rosso goes side by side. This is a good battle. I mean, this is at the back of the grid, and down into Brooklands they go through Lovefield, and just Bamba gets back out in front. Smokey Bates has received a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Going bad for that Mercedes driver. It's not going good for him. You know, it's bad to worse for the team, and I feel sorry for him because, you know, there's nothing worse than accidentally going a few mile an hour over in the pits and then, you know, getting a penalty.
Yeah. Vettel's getting on with it, keeping on the back of Gary. The fastest up the race as well to keep with this front running pack here.
This is good for Vettel and Gary because they both got fresh mediums. Clay's, Unity and Dyslexics are on 10... Krog, Clay's and Hush and Dyslexic are on 10 lap old mediums. If the rain doesn't come soon, they will eventually have to pit.
Clouds are gathering. A couple of laps ago, there were only spots here and there, and they weren't. I'm not talking about clouds like this, I don't know. As Vettel's got a run on Gary for 5th, down towards Stowe.
Oh, what a
move!
move!
The inside, and he gets it.
Oh, and looks like
Hyperface
is retired. Has he crashed?
First sector. Let me check the race director.
If he's got terminal damage and he's crashed, but this is a bad day for the Red Bull team in F1. They had such an amazing qualifying session. Yeah, he crashed. So it's a bad day for the Red Bull team.
Wow, Red Bulls.
An amazing run. And then, in the qualifying, and then both cars being out in the race. So, you know, it's a bad day in the office for Red Bull today.
Rough debut for Hyperface. He has the pace, but I think he's been shown he may have the pace, but this is a very, very tough division to win and to compete in. He'll be back though. He'll be back, and I'm sure he'll be back for Germany as well.
And the battle between teammates is still fighting. Oops, pressed the wrong button there. I was trying to spectate Bamba, but then they swapped positions. So the battle between Vettel and Bamba Viking. So normally team orders come into play here, but these two do not care for team orders. They are going to keep fighting. And it looks like Vettel is going to send it down the inside, going into Village. But Viking gets a better run and just doesn't allow him through. Oh, Vettel losing the back end a little bit there, going out of the loop. Gary's
trying to go on the outside of Vettel SV.
Oh, and he does it!
Gary's
Stowe as well. What a move!
Yep. Gary's coming out on the outside, right. So I think at this point, can't remember how much it is for a pit stop. I think Gary's in the net lead.
Technically, he
I don't think these front four can go to the rain.
No, because 12 lap old mediums, they are bound to be feeling it. IOX, again, of another 3-second time penalty. They are certainly feeling it.
How long did they go on Sunday? My race on Sunday, fresh tyres went 16 laps.
If the rain doesn't come in 4 laps, this could be problematic for the top 4.
I would say, judging by those clouds, I don't think they're coming in the next few laps. I know it's weird saying that by clouds and I'm focusing on a skybox, but that's the truth of the matter. If it was coming in the next couple of laps, it would be dark. So,
and there's still blue skies in the second sector though, so it does not look like it's going to be time. So in reality, the battle for the win here could potentially be from Gary, although we cannot rule out Unity Hush's amazing pace. He's cut down the time between him and Dyslexics to 2.2 seconds. Actually, you can see Dyslexic is in his crosshairs. I think Dyslexics is really struggling on these
Gary
tyres.
Again.
Here we go.
Going on the outside of Stowe.
This is a favourite battle spot for the pair of them. Oh, look at that. Ozza's trying to get a little look into the action. Gary keeps it up front, though, going into the chicane. It almost went 3 wide, but there was no room for Ozza to maybe squeeze in, so he had to back off for a second.
The problem is these three are in the, I think I remember rightly, leader. Where's the leader? They are under 27. I think I remember rightly, it's about 28 seconds for a stop. They are 26.9
they are
behind
on fresher tyres
Dyslexic at the moment.
They will gain,
but
on
they're
the top
battling.
4. Yeah.
But they're battling. The more they battle, the less advantage they're going to get. But they're not listening because they probably know this is for the net lead potential win if this weather holds out. But you can see all three of them fighting tooth and nail.
Keep in mind, Unity Hush has cut down half a second off of Dyslexics. Unity Hush is now starting to gain slowly on that Williams. It is incredible pushing. Those mediums are screaming, I bet, because I don't know how long they could hold, but that's not stopping Unity. And going through Maggots and Beckett's, Ozza is starting to fall. Oh, it looks like Unity has gone in. Sorry, Dyslexic's gone in, sorry. He finally couldn't stay out. Unity Hush, the man who got a poor qualifying session due to a glitch in the game, takes the lead of the British Grand Prix. Krog gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. RSR Clays, second place. Dyslexic has chucked on fresh softs.
Soft tyres.
If we're going to get rain, it's possible that the soft compound might be the best tyre to push on. And there's only 11 laps to go.
But
I know the softs could probably do it.
He's behind those that are pitted.
Yeah, they are. Gary's in third place.
Yep. He's now got a...
We'll come back
He's
to
got to push like anything.
Yeah, Ozza is still gaining on Vettel in fourth. Gary is in third. He's 12.7 seconds off of RSR Clays. Clays and Unity Hush are both on 14-lap-old mediums. I bet, even though Unity has a lot of work ahead of him, I bet he feels slightly happy seeing how far ahead, well, not how far ahead, how he was 15th on the grid. And right now, he's first place. So, you know, it may not last because now Unity is going into the pits. But, you know, for a short moment, the man made an amazing recovery of 14 places made from his starting point. So, you keep an eye on Gary because it looks like I'll keep an eye on Unity because Unity is now about to enter his pit box any second now.
Unity will be behind Dyslexic. Dyslexic's been absolutely flying on this lap.
Blaze has gone in.
Yeah.
I think
Blaze on softs. Softs will go to the end easy.
Unity is just going to fall behind the battling lot. Yeah, he's just behind Dyslexics. Yeah. Dyslexics has gotten the undercut on Unity Hush. No Showers is not quite close enough.
Look at the leaders. Vettel all over the back of Gary now. So these three. So this is all Unity is, and Vettel's going to have a look on the inside.
Ozza's getting a look on Gary as well.
Into
into Brooklands. Go Ozza and Gary. Ozza has to back off because Gary gets a better run through Brooklands into Luffield. Vettel SF1 takes the lead of the British Grand Prix for F1. And look at that. That racing point is really doing good. Ozza is going to try and go down the inside into Cops with Gary side by side still. Going into Maggots and Beckett's they go. And look at that, Ozza just gets out in front. He shuts the door just narrowly and stays ahead. Well, gets ahead, sorry, of Gary. And now look at this, Dyslexic instantly starting to find pace on the soft compound tyre. Dyslexic is now starting to put pressure on Gary. Gary's trying to respond to Ozza. Oh, Dyslexic has to back off because Gary getting a little look there on Ozza, and he has to just stop for a second and think, oh wait, no, I can't do this. This could work out a dream for Unity Hush, because if Dyslexic gets held up by slower moving cars, because obviously they're on the harder compound tyre, it could bring Unity up. Look at that, 2.3 seconds that Unity Hush is now off of Dyslexic. Fastest lap of the race, by the way, set by Dyslexic. This is a good battle for the lead.
Well, this is going to be telling for Dyslexic. He knows he has a massive opportunity to win. He knows he has a massive opportunity to win this race. He's in the best position possible to win this race, rain or not. Let's forget about the rain for now, because he can't go soft to the end, as can Unity. But he's got to be calm. Difficult to say that, because he's on much faster tyres and much quicker tyres, but he's got to be calm, one at a time, and he can win this. He's got to be careful, Unity, who is catching.
Old start straight we go. Going into Cops. Can Dyslexic make the move on the inside of Gary? Oh, he had to dodge Gary! But he gets past Gary.
Nah,
I think he had to surrender it. That might have been an illegal overtake that the game's declared, because look how quick Dyslexic had to stop and let Gary go by. You know what's only gone and happened? Look at where Unity Hush is. Unity Hush has already caught up to the back of Dyslexic by half a tenth. There's half a tenth off, so we could see a battle here between the two soft compound runners, because Dyslexic just can't get past Gary. This has gone bad for Dyslexic, because you know he was riding on getting past these guys to stay ahead of Unity Hush. Here we go, going through clubs. Unity Hush, fastest lap of the race. He's getting the tow from those front moving cars. Vettel still leads. I think Vettel might be able to ride these mediums out to the end. So it's up to the soft compound runners to see about making these moves, because if they don't, this is where they're going to finish. Going into the Wellington straight.
He's got to make a move on Gary. He has to. He's got to make it at this corner, really, because Unity's right up the gearbox. And he is. He's going for the inside.
Yeah, and it looks like Dyslexic's made it stick. Gary losing the position. He's getting a very slow run there through Lovefield. So I think Unity Hush is going to have to try and maybe make the move in the old start straight, or maybe into Cops, because look at the slipstream he's getting off that Renault. He can't just do it yet, but look at Gary getting a bad run there through Cops, and Unity Hush just gets past Gary with no problem whatsoever. And now Unity Hush is straight back to pressurising Dyslexic.
He's following Dyslexic like anything. Oz is called up to the back of Vettel.
So two battles going on in one go. The battle for the lead between the medium compound runners, and the battle for possibly the lead between the two soft compound runners. Unity Hush is still gaining on Dyslexic. Oh, Dyslexic gets really slow run there through the final chicane after Vale. Oh, Brundle. It could happen in the first sector. Dyslexic sets the fastest lap of the race. I think it's probably going to happen.
The only chance these medium guy runners have of winning the race if it chucks it down. It's getting darker.
Yeah, the rain has to come. Master Krog, he's still setting fastest laps of the race though. It's denying Dyslexic or Hush an extra point. Unity Hush might just be able to try and make a move on Dyslexic. Although Dyslexic's getting a little bit more speed. Ozza's getting a little peek down the inside on Vettel. Ozza takes the lead. Vettel has to squirm there. And look at that, the top four are beginning to get into one big bunch. Dyslexic is sniffing the back of that racing point. We've got a good point of view from Unity Hush's car. Going into the Cops corner, they all get an amazing run. Look at that. Through Maggots and Maggots. Oh, Vettel has to back off though, which causes Dyslexic. And look at that! Ozza's gone off! And it's collected! Dyslexic! Is there damage on Dyslexic's car? Yes, he's lost the left end plate, I think.
Ozza's left the session.
Oh no! Ozza lagged out! Vettel takes the lead. Ozza's AI falls down, puts Gary in the fourth. Dyslexic and Unity Hush are still fighting for the win. I think they might be too quick. Gary gets a 3-second penalty. It might be too quick for the rain to come, because I think we're finishing on the dry compound tyre.
Might be a situation where it's going to start raining with like 2 laps to go and they'll be on the damp track. Dyslexic got a time penalty and all that confusion, but you've got to feel for Rosa. He was right up there.
Yeah,
and his race is gone.
Lost it all because of connection, which is bad luck for Rosa. And now look at Unity Hush. He's back on the Williams, but he's got a better run there, going through to Brooklands. Can he stick it? Yes, he goes down the inside on Dyslexic into Brookland. Now through Luffield, they're still side by side. Can Unity Hush do it? They're both still together, and Dyslexic, Dyslexic defends, but it's side by side through Woodcote. And I think, yeah, Dyslexic is not giving him any space. And down the inside through Cobbs goes Unity Hush. It's Maggots and Beckett's battle. Oh no, Unity Hush there. I think it was a wise move there, because I don't know how it would have panned out if he would stay beside him into Maggots and Beckett. So well done from Unity there. You know, sometimes you just have to stop and think, actually no, I'll get him next time. Because it looks like the battle's going into Stowe. Look at Vettel, he's getting closer and closer in their point of view. This is intense frontal. I don't know how much I can handle.
This is exactly like Austria last week. The leaders were all close to one another. Dyslexic was up in the battle as well.
Yeah, Dyslexic to that penalty.
Yeah, he does. And ironically, I think that's what happened in Austria last week as well. Don't think Vettel or Unity have a penalty. I'm going to have to check that in a second. Still curious about that rain though.
Dyslexic is struggling though with grip in the first sector. I think he's starting to really push those softs, because you know he's battling and defending at the exact same time. So I think Dyslexic is going to try and make a move on Vettel. No, he cannot. He might be able to try and make a move down into Brooklands. It doesn't look like it's going to work, and it lets the Unity Hush get even closer into Woodcote. Look at the slipstream that Haas is getting on the Williams. And the Williams on that racing point going into Cobbs. I don't have to give Vettel the respect that he deserves. He is holding these two off with those tyres. Ozza rejoins the session, but he's down in 8th place ahead of his teammate Mastercrog. It was terrible because Ozza was so high up in the battle. It was a 4-man fight, and because of the disconnection, it just robbed him of a possibility of a podium.
Dyslexic couldn't go on the outside of Stowe.
He can't do it. Vettel defends, and it doesn't look like Dyslexic can do it. Did you see a little desync
that was
there?
A bit of a... No. That was like a very aggressive sort of move on the inside. Dyslexic on the inside. That's contact. There is Unity. Unity trying to go on the outside of the pair of them. He does.
Unity gets ahead. And Dyslexic is already trying to bounce back against Unity Hush. Look at that, straight down the inside he goes. That was a good send by the Williams. And you know, having fallen behind after that contact. Yeah, Gary's right back into play. I mean, Gary got overtaken.
There's the rain.
Is this the rain?
Yeah, didn't you see the flash?
Oh yeah,
I'm
seeing
on the Go TV pod.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing the rain now. This is interesting because we could be seeing rain in the last few corners. So can these guys finish before the rain properly sets in? I don't know if they can.
I don't know. I don't think they can. I think it'll be last couple of laps.
Oh, this is interesting.
Vettel, this is huge.
Yeah, the rain's coming hard. Look at it. Look at Unity Hush's point of view. Look how much rain is coming down.
This is huge for Vettel. Very huge for Vettel. If it stayed dry, no matter how much he defended, I think these two would have gone by. Now it's raining. He's got a huge chance. Still got to keep these two back.
DRS is still enabled though, so it's not quite wet enough.
Still damp.
Through Stowe they go. All around the outside, Dyslexic goes and gets a bad run off into the off the track. Into the chicane. Oh, look at that bad run there. Has to make Unity back off. Vettel is struggling. There's 13 laps on those mediums. It's free wide.
Unity, don't go free wide. Don't you dare. Oh, Dyslexic's no, he gets a wiggle.
Oh, and he's fallen down to 4th.
Take the lead.
Unity Hush has taken a lead. Look at Vettel, though. He's fighting Unity Hush. And that racing point is definitely giving him struggle. Unity Hush takes the lead. With the rain coming, Vettel gets a penalty. So this is not good. One. Gary, I think, actually has one as well.
Vettel, that's a lunge.
What a send! That was way too much of a lunge there for Vettel back there.
Jesus.
I think Vettel's just not happy with losing those positions. You know, he wants to try and fight back as much as he can.
And get a penalty.
Yeah, he's got that penalty, so he's trying to do his best to get back ahead of that Haas. But with the fact that he's up against a soft compound tyre, the rain's coming, he does not have that grip to make a counter-attack. Unity Hush has already opened the gap between him and the cars behind him. A bad luck there for Dyslexics after nearly going into a spin in the first sector.
Tell you something, Primus, I've just checked up the penalties. Would you believe that Unity is the only one of the top 4 that doesn't have any?
That's incredible. Has he got any warnings?
He's got a couple.
Oh, so he has to be careful. If he does any risky moves.
Question is the rain. This rain's come down more heavy than I thought it would.
But DRS is still enabled though, so it's not enough. Ooh, look at Unity Hush. He's going to try and get a look on Gary and Vettel. But it's not quite
look at them, they're struggling now. Look at the conditions.
Pigeon Munch gets a penalty.
Everywhere. Oh no, Gary!
Oh, there's contact between Vettel and Gary!
And he's round.
Oh, this is not good. This actually is going to be good for No Shells because that could give No Shells a potential at going for a podium. No Shells can't get past the stricken Gary.
Look at them, they're all struggling. Pigeon, Krog and Devil are in the pits for intermediate tyres.
I think could it be potentially too early to go onto the inters? Krog and Pigeon are willing to take that risk with their penalties. I think Krog has a stop and go penalty as well. But the thing is with DRS is still active, I don't think it's quite enough yet. Unity Hush is 2.5 seconds ahead of Dyslexics, and it looks like Dyslexics is actually gaining time on that leading Haas.
I'll keep on board with Krog. See how he does.
No Shells is getting that. DRS is disabled. I think this might have worked out in Krog's favour because Krog's got those intermediates on. The dry runners are going to struggle like hell on those tyres. Let's keep an eye on Unity Hush, the race leader going into Stowe, struggling on that soft compound tyre. Can he get a good run into the pit? Unity Hush is staying out.
Why has he stayed out?
I don't think he feels it's worth it.
Bell stays out. Hit. Someone.
This is crazy. Look at that. You've got the back runner of Vettel. Vettel fan struggling. I think they don't feel it's worth it to. They're going to stay out because the best running tyre is Krog. We thought it was going to work out for Krog, but look, Ozza, John, Clays, No Shells, Gary, Vettel, SF, Dyslexic, and Unity Hush have just gone, you know what, I don't feel it's worth, going back out onto the dry weather, going onto the wet
very
tyres.
bold pull. They are struggling like anything.
Because look at Krog. Krog's already made up positions into 9th place. If he can catch up to his teammate... Well, do keep in mind, though, Unity Hush is way too far ahead for anyone to make a move because Dyslexic is falling behind.
I am amazed no one went. I'm amazed no one went because... Yeah... Like for example, like No Shells, like he could have seen the others not pitting and then pit himself. I'm amazed no one did.
Ooh, No Shells is struggling to try and catch Gary going through the start-finish, the old start-finish straight.
They have to pit now.
They have to pit because they're just struggling like crazy. I have a feeling though, Unity Hush and Dyslexic will not pit. It's only lap 25 out of 26. Not much remains of the race. I think they're just going to say, you know what? I'm willing to take the risk and stay out on the soft compound tyre. We'll find out soon. Look at this. They're all just slipping and sliding.
Look how quickly Krog is catching.
Yeah, Krog is actually flying.
Granted, he's 40 seconds off the lead, but he's within a pit stop of 5th. And
the top runners pit. This could be very good for Krog.
They're not. They're not.
They don't feel it's worth the risk. So we're going into the last lap of the race. Unity Hush is keep going. RSR's gone. The back end is sliding like crazy. Let's keep an eye on No Shells. He's trying to catch Gary. Gary just shoots off. Do keep in mind he's got a softer compound of tyres, but with rain, I don't think it completely matters. Gary gets a bad run to turn 1, which allows No Shells to instantly come back. Oh, this is...
a spin on the front straight. So that's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. I know they got a lap and a bit. Rocks into 8th. I know they got a lap and a bit, Primus, but this is a very bold call.
Hush is actually running out of fuel. He's got maximum ERS though. He's slapped it into mode 5. I think he's going to low fuel mix it. This is actually the most intense race I've ever seen as a commentator because the rains come, they don't care, they're going to continue. We'll keep on board with Unity Hush here. I think he's been a crowd favourite for today, but I haven't seen the chat in the stream because unfortunately I can't get my phone up. So, Unity Hush, the man who had a poor start. What was you about to say?
Krog. Look at Krog.
Krog might actually catch John and RSR. Actually, no. Looks like we got Vettel running off. I thought that was other cars going off there. I think he's getting through those back markers.
Right. The leaders are doing near 2-minute laps. Krog is 18 seconds a lap quicker.
This is incredible.
I don't think he's going to catch the leaders.
So Unity Hush
the leaders.
Goes through the final chicane after the poorest qualifying start he's ever had this season.
Amazed.
Round Club, Unity Hush wins the British Grand Prix, and what a win and recovery drive from the Haas driver. Well done to Unity Hush. A battle for third as Vettel S01 goes across the pit. Gary takes 4th. No Show gets third. Podium. Well done to No Shells.
My boy.
Krog gets 7th. Right, I'm going to have to say this, Brundle. It goes without doubt. Oh, Mr. Pigeon Munch had a 5-second penalty unserved. Unity Hush, driver of the day. P15 to take the win. I have to say it goes to Unity Hush.
Yep. Cannot take that away from him. I mean, I'm still amazed. I'm still amazed how no one, like, from 5th or 6th pitted for intermediate tyres, because, right, let's have a look at these lap times, right? Unity's last lap was a 54.1, and Frog, who was on intermediates, in the end he never caught them, but he was 13 seconds quicker than Unity on the last lap. One more lap, that would have been Krog's.
It would have been.
No, he might not have won. He was 24 seconds behind the lead.
I do see, though, John did 25 laps on the hard compound tyre.
And he ended up 6th. He was one of the ones caught up on the first lap.
So what a move there from John. 25 laps stuck out on the hard tyre. No transition. So I'll let you invite our top 3 into the party, but well done to Unity Hush. Such an appalling start to the qualifying session after getting the bug in the game, but it doesn't stop this man. He extends his championship lead by 25 more points ahead. And it gives also Dyslexic, a good second place. He catches back up in some points, but, Unity, the man of the day, he takes that win, and I bet he feels proud, his home Grand Prix, terrible start, and then just a gobsmacking finish. So going over the classification while Brundle gets in our top 3, Unity Hush takes the win with no penalties whatsoever, making up 14 positions in the race. Dyslexic finishes 2nd place. Unlucky there when he was battling for between Vettel and Gary. Ozza. No Charles in 3rd. Vettel in 4th, Gary 5th, John MH 2002 in 2nd, Master Krog shoots his way from 17th to 7th, so well done to Krog. Clay's in 8th, Pigeon Munch 9th, Devil 10th, Ozza 11th, Smokey McBates 12th, Iox 13th, Vettel Fan 14th, Bamba Viking 15th. The two Red Bulls unfortunately DNF'd in the race, Hyperphase, Quexer, and then Shrimper rounding off the grid. So that is incredible. So we'll wait for the rest of the boys to get into the party. So I think right now it's only just Hush. So make sure you've got your audio included into the stream. We've got all three.
Yeah, we've
all three.
Okay, so I'll do third, you do second, and then I do first, Brundle?
Yeah, I just need to breathe after that. Jeez.
Right, well, let's get started. No, better now than never. So, No Shows. What an impressive drive. You know, it was incredible after everything that went on in the race. You know, massive clumping up in the beginning of the race. Everyone knew the rain was coming, but they didn't know when. How do you feel your race went today, mate?
Best race I've driven so far this year. I loved it. It's like that combination at the end with the wet weather and people staying out on slicks. Really, it changed it up a lot, and it's just, yeah, really good.
And mate, a podium finish as well. When the rain came, no one cared. You all stayed out. Like a few people like Krog and Pigeon Munch slapped onto the intermediates, but they were riding on the fact that everyone would maybe be pitting onto the inters, but no one cared, and it worked out in your favour because I bet you suddenly was ecstatic when suddenly you went from 5th to 3rd.
Yeah, that was a shock because I mean, I qualified 13th by halfway through the race. Hard strategy worked and got up to the P5, and yeah, it was a shock to see Gary in that in front of me, just right there. And as soon as the wet weather came, my engineers, shout out to them, thanks for that. And they were saying that he had a penalty, so that really helped.
Well, congratulations, No Showers, 3rd place. Be proud of that result. I'm now going to hand over to Brundle to interview Dyslexic.
Well, well done, Dyslexic, on first of all a good race in the end, 2nd place. You had obviously a chance for the win, as well as several other drivers. It was an intense battle for the lead in the end, but you must have been really happy once you won the soft tyres compared to everyone else who won the mediums. And it was just a case of trying to pick their way through. But the problem was you also had Unity behind you. Talk us through that moment when you came out onto the pits on the soft tyre, and what was going through your mind when you were battling with those leaders?
Yeah, so literally one of the hardest but most fun races I think I've ever done. To be honest, on F1, I mean, Unity drove amazing, to be fair to him, coming from 15th, and we had a really good battle, but I knew he was going to be a little bit quicker with the fresher tyres, but all I was thinking about was trying to get through as quick as possible. But then I got invalid overtake and stuff on Gary because he drifted off. I tried to avoid him, and I got done for that, so I had to slow down, let him pass, and I got a 3-second penalty again for trying to dodge people sliding off the track and stuff. But yeah, when I came out, it was just trying to get past people as quick as possible, and I can't believe how long I held on with the mediums, to be honest, trying to hold them up. I think to be fair, that helped Unity a bit there, holding all them up. But yeah, massive shout out, to Spiral and Vettel for my little bit of slipstream on my lap.
Yeah, that was good. Obviously, towards the end of the race, pretty much the top 6 all of a sudden stay out on dry tyres when it was chucking it down. Didn't you think of any point, maybe the penultimate lap or the lap before, maybe going on intermediates, catch the gap back up, or did you think it's not worth it in the end?
No, I don't think it would have been worth it. I don't think I would have caught in time. I don't think so, because I was asking, apparently the gap from the Inter guy was like 30 seconds or so. I know they closed it down, but I just didn't see the point. I thought we might as well stay out, but get a better having track position. I didn't think they were going to catch that quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I checked the lap time. I think it was Krog. He went 13 seconds lap quicker than Unity in the lead, so might have
I think
worked, but it would have been
if they had a couple more laps, yeah, they definitely
would have
would
been
have been in
touch and
trouble.
go.
Yeah.
But obviously, a final thing. We talked in qualifying and the build up to this race that you've gone on this rise up, because it's amazing how you started off in tier 3, had a little go in F2, was battling with me for a couple of races, and now here you are in F1, duking it out with Unity Hush, who's championship protagonist, especially that side by side bit that you had all the way along the old front straight. Yeah, how's it feel really? Obviously, maybe a little bit late this season, but going to next season potentially, you could. Sky's the limit,
right
really.
now I'm just trying to get as many points as possible. I mean, I had a really bad round at Austria with, I mean, same thing happening to my car in Austria's Unity and Quali. But yeah, I'm just trying to get as many points as possible. Obviously, joined late onto the F1 division, but yeah, I want to be battling up at the top. I need to get a win. I've still haven't, so it's good. Second place again, but you know, me and Unity again just battling all the time.
Well, congrats on your second place, and the win will come. It will, as long as
I'm
you're
hoping so.
always
Thank
up there.
you,
But
yes.
the problem is these days in F1, any one of 8 or 9 can
Yeah,
win
every
single time.
quick.
So, no, as long as you keep the consistency up, and as I said, next season, who knows? Obviously, you've got to stay in F1. You're gonna drop pace suddenly. At least I hope not.
Sandbags back on.
Yeah. So, yeah. For now, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Right. So the man of the day, Unity Hush. Terrible qualifying start after getting a bug in the game. You did a good time, but the game didn't allow it. You fell all the way down to 15th place. Really gutting, being the championship leader, having to start from the back of the pack. And take a look at you now. I bet you didn't expect to shoot your way to pole position and winning the race. So please give me an insight on how everything was going from start to finish. Especially with that rain, because one wrong excessive use of throttle and then off you could go. So I knew your head was down until the moment you crossed the line. But the fact is, mate, you went from 15th place. You started 15th and you won the race. So I bet you're really happy with like that. You made up 14 positions today, and I think you'll be happy to know you're not just today's race winner, but you're today's driver of the day as well, for such an astounding drive. And I can't blame you, mate, because I bet when you started in 15th place, the last thing you was going to think was, I'm going to win. Your main goal was, I need some points. I need to score some good points, keep my lead up. Because now you've pushed yourself up another 25 points again into the championship. Good points for Haas as well. I think John also scored some good points. So Haas has really scored some serious points today. I'd have to tell you what, mate, that drive was incredible. I have to give absolute mad credit to No Shows and Dyslexics. They were No Shows drove superbly. Trying to deal with all the people getting held up by the rain. People have penalties. Dyslexics, he was doing his absolute best to get past the likes of Ozza and Vettel SF, but then Ozza lagged out, which allowed you lot to push through. I think also you had Gary there in the midst, and that allowed well, once there was contact, I think it was between Vettel and Dyslexic. There was contact between them, and then I think that was in turns 1 through to 3. That's when you made the move in. But Unity, that was a stellar drive. You know, if you could get one, and I have to say it's deserving to all 3 of you after such a chaotic race start and surprising rain finishes. I didn't realise you all just said nah to like ignoring the call for going on to Inters. You all stayed out in the softs. If we could give all 3 of you one, you would get a standing ovation right now, because that was incredible. So, Brundle, do you have any more questions for Unity, Dyslexic, or No Shows?
No questions. Just an added point of obviously the occasion of France is, well, until I brought it up, has been way forgotten by 2 absolutely brilliant races. Obviously, following on from Austria last week, and today has been good. I mean, the first couple of laps there were incidents, and obviously the stewards will look into that. There was stuff of connection as well, but in terms of drama, in terms of battling, there was good overtakes as well. 2 very good races, and these guys, as they should be, are the ones that everybody in RSF1 look up to. These are the fastest. These are also the cleanest and the most competitive and provide the good races. So, I think me and Unity were having a discussion about which is the best division. I said F2 because obviously I'm in it. Yeah, you probably got me on this one. F1 is probably slightly better.
This is the most intense race, the division I've seen, because your qualifying times are incredibly, well, like your division in all.
Too.
You know, like from 1st to 5th was only 600ths of a second off each other, you know, from 1st to 5th. So that was incredible to see the gap. But to go over the race classification one more time for you all, No Shows takes 3rd place today in the Alfa Romeo team, followed by Dyslexic in the Williams, and Unity Hush taking the win for Haas today in Britain. And again, the driver of the day has been awarded to Unity Hush for an incredible drive of pushing his way through the grid and taking the win. So it's been a stellar week so far. F2 delivering a good show. F1 I think F1's taken the cake already this week. We've got F4 tomorrow and F3 on Thursday. So I've been Primus Gaming, and with me, RSF1 Brundle. Have a good evening, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.